I know Eagle fans, over the last few weeks, we have heard nothing but all these different scenarios in which the Eagles could lose their number one seed, lose a division. But the truth of the matter is this, and I'm going to help you out. There is only one fact or one possibility we need to be concerned about. If the Eagles win the next two games, they win the division and they clinch home field throughout the playoffs. How about that? Clinching it all in Dallas. Merry Christmas, Philadelphia. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and happy Victory Monday to all you Dingbats out there. I hope each and every one of you guys are having a great day. And all I can say is, what a giant beatdown by the Eagles yesterday. Giant beatdown on the Giants. It was an amazing thing, and I know a lot of you Eagle fans are sitting there hearing from Cowboy fans and all these other teams, all these scenarios in which could happen that are going to cost the Eagles a division or a home field advantage. Well, I'm here to help you out. I'm here to let you know that there's only one thing you have to worry about, and that is the next two games. 2 wins equals home field throughout the playoffs. If it's the next 2 wins. Now, we're going to get into it in a second, but before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you happen to like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe. You definitely don't want to miss this run because it's going to get crazy. And maybe you just like coming on and looking at a screen that has a guy that looks like Denzel Washington. Well, that's perfect because I do look like Denzel Washington. Now, if you've been subscribed for a while, thank you so much for all the support you give to me. I truly am humbled, and it means a lot. And if you wouldn't mind, just double moonwalk check. Make sure YouTube ain't running any shenanigans or anything crazy that, happens sometimes. I would truly appreciate it. Also, one quick announcement. I will not be able to stream tonight's football game. That was the plan, but I am going to be caught up at work late, so I won't be home until well after possibly the game is over. So not going to be doing that, but I will be streaming Thursday. The 49ers Seahawks could be actually a decent game. Good division rivalry on the it'll be on the Erect Penis Network, Amazon Prime. So I will be streaming that, and then we'll make up a game somewhere down the road here. We're gonna have Saturday games starting this Saturday too, so we'll figure something out. But yeah, look for that, and I'm sorry I couldn't do it today. Now, I want to jump right into the Eagles. We've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. I probably should make 2 videos on this, but there's just so much going on, all right? First thing I want to talk about is the injury report. We had a couple guys injured yesterday. Where are we with that, okay? First guy is the punter, Aaron Sipos, however you say his name. But here's what we heard. Eagles punter Aaron Sipos is out indefinitely with a lower leg injury suffered when he scooped a block punt, ran, and got crushed just short of a first down in a Sunday win over the Giants, per sources. Tom Pellisario says, I don't know how to say his last name, but he says, one potential option is, and it sounds like 3-time Pro Bowl punter Brett Kern will be visiting the Eagles. So it looks like the Eagles are hard at work, and they're going to have to go out and get a punter. This was confirmed by Nick Sirianni, who said that Sipos is going to miss some extended time, and we're going to need to get another punter. Now, the big injury for me, the one that really scared me and had me worried, not that I like any injuries for any of these guys, but the Reed Blankenship one really had me bummed out. And especially yesterday, I think it was John McMullen. I was watching one of these postgame shows, and they were saying that the Eagles believed he had a torn ACL, and they just needed to wait for tests to confirm it. So that really kind of had me bummed out. Well, I guess the test came back positive and that he did not have a torn ACL. So we're getting a big break here. Pound Eagles safety Reed Blankenship injury is a low-grade sprain, which makes it a short-term injury, sources say. Timeline still yet to be determined, but not a candidate for IR, per Mike Garofalo. Eagles are thin at safety with Gardner Johnson possibly out to the playoffs. Yes, we all know that, Howard Eskin. Thank you very much. However, in my opinion, this is big news. That is big that we're going to get Reed Blankenship back. Because to me, Reed Blankenship, he's worked his way into the starting lineup. And when he's ready and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson comes back, they're my two starters. I let Epps come off the bench, and those are my two guys. I thought Reed Blankenship was standing out yesterday before he got hurt. My eyes couldn't get off him. I kept seeing him make plays, in on plays. I like the kid. He's got tremendous upside. Him and the way he plays and the way he hits with the combination of the ball hawk Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that's a winning combination, yo. It's a winning combination. Now, a couple other things we got to talk about. Updated draft order. Oh, let me get a sip here. Sorry, I'm getting a little cold. Pinky up. Pinky up always when you drink. That's right. That way they can see your pinky ring. But we have an updated draft order here, right? The Saints, they were on a bye week. Of course, for those that don't know, the Eagles have the Saints' first-round pick, so we follow this very closely every week. The updated draft order, and this doesn't include the Cardinals game that hasn't happened yet, which may or may not affect this order. But right now, the Eagles are sitting there at 5, picking number 5 overall. You have Texans 1-11-1. They almost won that game yesterday. That would have been great. Seahawks 3-10. Bears 3-10. Lions 4-9. And then you have the Saints 4-9. And that's the Eagles pick. The Eagles own that pick. So right now, and we'll see what happens after the Cardinals game tonight. But right now, the Saints are picking top 5 for us. And remember, we're going to play them in a few weeks. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Eagles want to handle it. I know how the coaches are going to want to handle it. Like if let's say the Saints could get a top 2 or 3 pick, right? And the Eagles just need to beat them. I'm sure the coaches and the players don't want to play. They want to rest up. But I wonder what Howie's doing, man. He's calculating the calculations of the cornbread with his big glasses on, his pocket pencil protector, his protractor. You know it's happening. So that's the question. What is the deal? I have no idea. But I would think they probably would sit their starters. But it's going to be very, very interesting. Having to sit your starters, I guess it's a good problem to have, right? That means you've won a lot of games and you need your guys healthy for the playoffs, which the Eagles clinched yesterday when they beat the New York Giants. And I was a little surprised the way the Eagles won. I thought it would be a closer game. I thought they would win, but it wasn't the case. The Eagles just have too much firepower for the New York Giants. And it's kind of similar to the Tennessee game, which we talked about in the preview. If you force the Giants, like Tennessee, to have to start throwing the ball, it's going to be very hard for them. And that's exactly what happened. The Eagles right now are They're hitting on all cylinders. The best 2 games of the season that they've played has been versus the Tennessee Titans and then the New York Giants. So the Eagles are starting to play their best football. We can go back to September, we can go back to October where we're talking about the Eagles were winning, but man, they haven't even played their best football yet. They're just starting to get there. They're not even there yet, but they're just starting to get there. And I'm excited about this team, okay? And I keep getting like messages from people, and they'll be like, Cowboy fans, and they'll be telling me, hey, if you lose this week and then you lose us, then we jump you in the division, and then it's this, it's that, it's the other. I saw a video. Mark Holmes was saying something about if Dallas beats us, then everything is fine. All they have to do is beat us once, and they control everything. You got to beat us twice, actually. You're 2.5 games behind us, okay? But there's a lot of scenarios being floated around. That's my point. That's my point. There's a lot of scenarios being floated around right now with the Eagles and possibilities of how other teams can jump them. And here is what I have to say. The only thing that I'm concerned about, really, in regards to all these different scenarios, is win the next 2 games. If the Eagles win the next 2 games, all the other stuff does not matter. You take care of yourself, okay? And why do I say that? Is this. Because if the Eagles win the next 2 games, that would put the Eagles at 14-1. If the Eagles are 14-1 and they beat Dallas on Christmas Eve, that means Dallas would be what? Probably 11-4, assuming Dallas wins next week. That means that Dallas can't catch the Eagles. That means Minnesota can't catch the Eagles. So the Eagles would essentially clinch not only the division, but home field advantage. If the Eagles beat Dallas and the Bears, they clinch home field throughout the playoffs. That's the truth, okay? The Eagles are 12-1, all right? Minnesota is 10-3. That means Minnesota's best record that they could have is 14-3 if they were to win out. If the Eagles win the next 2 games, they're 14-1. Even if they would lose their last 2 games and be 14-3, they would hold the tiebreaker over Minnesota because they beat them head-to-head. If the Eagles win the next 2 games, Dallas is, like I said, they would be 11-4, having lost to the Eagles twice. That means that if the Eagles lose the last 2 games and Dallas won the last 2 games, they couldn't catch the Eagles. The Eagles beating them twice, and record, it would be too much. So the Eagles, all they have to do to lock everything up is beat Chicago and beat the Dallas Cowboys. If you do that, it's over. Now, if you don't beat Dallas, okay, and Dallas, let's say Dallas is 11-3 going into that game. Let's say the Eagles are 13-1. And then the Eagles lose, they would go 13-2. Dallas would be, 12-3. So then all of a sudden, it's only a 1-game difference. And tiebreaker-wise, I think Dallas might jump us because we would have 2 divisional losses. So if the Eagles beat Dallas, it's over. They have home field throughout the playoffs. If they lose to Dallas, then I don't think Dallas would win the division, but you'd have to wait to lock everything up. We could have this whole thing locked up and done come Christmas. Would that not be the greatest Christmas present ever? You wake up Christmas morning, bing, bang, boom, Santa Claus came. He ate all the cookies. He drank all the eggnog. And then you got all these presents under the tree. And you also have a clinched home field throughout the playoffs. That's what would happen. So it's as important for the Eagles. The next 2 games, the Eagles can lock everything up. And then, like I said earlier, you'd have a decision to make. Would you go, because you'd play the Saints next, would you play guys and try to get the Saints to lose for that better draft spot? Or do you not want to sit your guys the last 2 games, right? If you have a bye week and you clinch home field throughout the playoffs, you're going to get a whole week off. You have 2 games before that week off happens. Do you really want to sit guys for 3 weeks? I don't think so. I think you have to play them. My plan would probably be this. If you clinch home field throughout the playoffs, I would come out and I would play probably 3 quarters to a half versus the New Orleans Saints. And then the final game, I'd probably play 1 quarter. So against the Saints, I'd play a half at least. Against the Giants, probably a quarter. Now, the Giants may need that game to get in the playoffs, so it could be very interesting for them. But you're going to hear a lot of different scenarios, a lot of if the Eagles lose this, if the Eagles lose that. All the Eagles need to do is win the next 2 games. You win the next 2 games, you clinch home field throughout the playoffs. If you don't win the next 2 games and you lose to Dallas, well then this thing's going to get dragged on another week or 2. So got to win Christmas Day. You have to. And right now, the Eagles, there's no reason why they can't. I think Dallas is beatable, and I'm sure Dallas thinks we're beatable, and that's why we got to come and play Christmas Day. Pause. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. And remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. You know, I kind of forgot to mention this in the video, but that Minnesota loss to the Lions was absolutely huge for the Eagles. It really gives the Eagles some breathing room, okay? And the fact of the matter is this: if the Eagles can win those next 2 games, they can't finish with any more than 3 losses. That's what Minnesota has already. So the Eagles would hold the tiebreaker. That Dallas game, like I said, it is going to be about as big as a game as you could get. And I would not want it any other way. Denzel Washington out.